Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. So this is a little voiceover I'm doing about the final day. Today's Monday, February 3rd. I'm going to do another video tomorrow morning, just in case there's any other things that develop. So this will be the first voiceover of that. And I'm going to include this in the Journey series. I'm also going to put this. I'm in the middle of making a video about Trump and tariffs. And I went to read comments on my Pockets of the Future Facebook, which I don't get to very much. And I read comments on my Instagram messages, not comments, messages. And I read the Instagram ones every day or every other day. And not every day now. Like it's just, I'm falling out of a little bit of a routine in that. But almost every day, almost like 5, 6 days a week. The Facebook Pockets of Future page, I don't get to the messages. On my personal personal Facebook page, I get to messages there. And there's one I want to respond to. I usually don't read personal messages, but this one had to do with a gratefulness meditation experience. So I was doing that. I was listening to things, and I got a few things I want to cover. I'm in the middle of making a video, and it's 2:40 now. And it seems I lost like 3 hours. Like I did a little bit of the video, and then I just sort of spaced out. And this is what happens at the end of the gathering. Like I just end up staring at a wall, and like I'm doing things, or I'm kind of doing things, but I'm just not there. I'm just not into it. And then I realized should meditate. And I meditated, had just the most blissful meditation. The Sahaj Marg meditation isn't about bliss. It isn't about happiness. It isn't about, what do they call it? Enlightenment. It's none of those things. It's about spiritual evolution. But there are moments of bliss. And the moments of bliss are really important, especially after these gatherings. And the meditations just get a lot better. And there's restlessness in the meditations. There's emotions. There's, sometimes it's just a grind. The meditations. I used to have meditations. I meditated for a full hour every morning. I don't get to do that as much. And 59 minutes would be excruciating and restlessness. Like there are times I start meditating and I'm like, well, that's got to be like half an hour. I look at my watch, it was 1 minute. I'm like, oh, this is going to suck, right? And so it's not like it's just some big pleasure experience, but, just the end of this gathering, and I had this wonderful sitting. They passed through me as a preceptor, and I knew it was a good sitting. And then I just, was inspired to meditate. And, this is the kind of stuff that it's a really a breakthrough for the gratefulness meditation we're doing. Leading up to the gathering, I've been going through a personal thing that's just a real bummer. That's, family related. And my wife has some stuff going on with a loss of a loved one, a parent who's in the death process. And so there's just stuff going on for us. And then I just was getting headaches and felt like shit at the beginning of the gathering. And I talked about this, and I was wondering whether, just the whole thing was working or not. And then last night was incredible sitting. And this morning was an incredible sitting. And then I just meditated, had a wonderful meditation. And it's one of the great things about the Sahaj Marg system that, there are these moments of just deep connection to the divine. And, when meditation is pleasurable. Meditation, shouldn't always be pleasurable, but it needs to be sometimes very pleasurable. And after a gathering, it might be just this state that you get into in a spiritual condition where for weeks the meditations are just bliss. I'm feeling a lot of vibrations in the central region, which is the furthest point in the spiritual evolution. I've been feeling that for a while, which I feel like it's a, positive thing. And, all this stuff. So just wanted to say that, this blissful thing that I'm experiencing. And then I got a message from somebody. I got to find it here. See where it is. It was one of these Facebook messages. And, oh yeah, here. And the person writes, and I usually don't read personal things, but I think this would be something I can respond to here. And Hi, Paul. I've been listening to your YouTube videos at night before bed, and I started getting interested in the gratefulness meditation you talk about. The other night, I put one of your transmissions, and I thought I would try and meditate upon my connection with God. I found it got really emotional, like sad. I started crying. I wanted to ask you if this could be some of that cleansing you mentioned in your gratefulness meditation videos. I've listened to the few of the series, but um, not quite clear if this is something that I need to work through before I can meditate properly in the system. I hope you don't mind me reaching out. Thanks. And I wrote, yeah, that's cleaning. That's what they call cleaning. It's not like the what you experience is bad. Like whatever you experience is what you experience in the meditation. And it's obviously if this person wasn't crying beforehand, and you start to meditate, well, that had something to do with you crying, right? And so grief or sadness is coming up. When I got back to America, I was like dating this woman. We sort of connected before I came back to America, and she was helpful in getting me and my family back here. Like I sent her money, and she got us an apartment and things like this, right? And it was, it was not a relationship that was, it wasn't like a good match in different ways. But I wanted her to experience the meditation that I was doing, and Kamlesh Daji came to America, and it was when he was already starting to fuck up the system. He was already corrupting the system, but I didn't know anything about that. But I had seen some stuff already, but it's still the energy was still there. And he came to America in L.A., and we were driving there, and she had never done the meditation before, and she just starts crying, and she goes, "What's happening?" Like, I don't even know. I just was overwhelmed by sadness. No reason. Like, she didn't have a thought of something that made her sad. And I said, well, that's just what happens at these gatherings. And often for women, it's sadness or, maybe not so much. Sometimes they're driven to tears, women, for their love of God. Men as well, but women, it's more often something like that. And sometimes grief comes up, sometimes anger, sometimes fear. Oftentimes I would be frustrated and restless. I feel a lot of restlessness and things, that happens. And then there's also anticipation and excitement, enthusiasm for the gathering that's about to be. But it's just kind of the magical thing about the system. It's very subtle. Like this woman meditated one time and she started weeping, right? Like what would make you do that without without anything sad happening, right? And so, it's very subtle and it's hard to make a correlation, but whatever you're going through, like if you're going to do the system, you need to do the 3 meditations. I should write a comment here to her as well. But you have to do the introductions to there's 3 meditations you do on 3 consecutive days. There's a playlist for it. Explains the practice. And so I'll just send her that link. But if you want to do the system, you have to meditate on 3 consecutive days and get introduced to the system. Now you can try the system. There's a 10-minute meditation that's available in any of my Pockets of the Future videos and then other places on Gratefulness Meditation. You can try that. It's like a 10-minute, just experience of the transmission. And you can try some of these other sittings, but it's best to get introduced. You do the 3 introductory sittings, and there's a lot of cleaning that takes place, and then you become ready to meditate. But, it's something where you have to watch the videos, and it's a comprehensive channel, and the playlists are key in the channel, the Gratefulness Meditation channel. Anybody who wants to do the meditation, it's really important that they do the playlist. But anyways, I was just going to say, like a really profound, like if people listen to my earlier audio, and I put it up on my regular Pockets of the Future, and then some other places, and I was just really it was feeling down and not like the gathering wasn't, I knew there was cleaning going on, but, just I wasn't feeling it. And then the last 2 sittings have been phenomenal. And my condition post-gathering, like I said, I just want to stare at the wall. Like it's hard for me to like just do anything. Like I just don't want to participate. Like I got things I got to do. I got to go walk with my dogs, and I take my cold water bath in the afternoon. I got to go do that now. And then I'll work a little bit more on the video maybe. But I just want to stare at the wall and like not think about anything and just, feel the effects of the gathering, which is just, a wonderful thing with the Sahaj Marg system. But anyways, Let me send this person the playlist, and I will do one more voiceover for people who are listening to this on Gratefullness Meditation channel. You'll hear that, and also for people in the Journey series, I'll do a wrap-up to it. But this has been the best gathering of the Gratefullness Meditation by far for me. I don't know for other people, but definitely for me, it's had the most profound effect. And, it's moving along smoothly. Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. Today is Tuesday, February 4th. This audio's, I don't know if this will go on a regular video or not, but it's definitely going on the Journey series, and then this is a standalone audio for the Gratefullness Meditation. I think there must be an audio before this. I'll have to review that because I was just so out of it. But this marks the best gathering that I have had since Chargy passed away. And so, I wouldn't say that because the ones the year that in July of 2020 and 2015, that was an epic gathering. And then the one in 2016 before we left India also was good. I don't think it was as good as this, though. And, it's hard to evaluate something that, the sittings in the system, just because a sitting isn't pleasant doesn't mean it's good, right? But if you don't feel any transmission, you don't feel anything, and there's no after effects, because there are subtle sittings that Chargy said he felt nothing from Babaji, like the sitting he got where Babaji transferred his own condition into Chargy in an airport. It was a minute and 40 seconds. And, he transmitted his own essence into Chargy to, keep on the work. And that was obviously the best and most important sitting Chargy ever experienced. And I think he said he didn't really feel anything. Like, it was just, of course, it was a short sitting. But it's the after effects. And so you might feel restless and bad at the gathering. But when you leave the gathering, how do you feel? And when you come back into your normal life, how do you feel? And there's just a condition that you would get into after a gathering. And it would be hard to rate them because it's all based in memory. But as the time of the gathering, you're aware of, oh my God, this was epic. Like, you can just feel the difference as you leave the place, days after the gathering. And, since those two gatherings in India that were really, still in the Chargy era, because he had just passed away, it was the first Chargy gathering, then the first Babaji gathering since, he passed away. And the first one with Daji, we got kicked out of, but I don't know, I felt the energy in the sittings. And so, but the one that he came to America, I felt Daji's energy, but like I didn't feel a boost. In fact, it was the opposite. My daughter was cutting, and then she cut herself on the way home in the car because she was hoping to ask Kamlesh for permission to go back to India and other things. And, leaving the gathering and going back to Vegas from Los Angeles, it was a tough car ride home, and then just no boost. In fact, I felt worse, like more depleted, more worn out. And then the gathering where, my wife and my two kids went to India. We went to India together, and there was some issues there. It was not a smooth gathering. The guy Diaper Baba Ramdev, who's a billionaire owner of Patanjali, Ayurvedic scam company, and a scammer. And he did a belly dance. He's a yogi. He does yoga, like hatha yoga. He did this belly dance. He stripped down to a diaper, so we called him Diaper Baba. It was so weird, and the Europeans and Americans didn't know who this person was. He was following Kamlesh around all over the place like a puppy dog, and he dominated, like he hijacked one whole day doing the yoga, which had no bearing, like no one was prepared for it. And they were, filming the amount of people that were in the ashram, so they had drones flying above people during meditation. They kicked us out of the big meditation hall so that they could not have anybody sitting in chairs. They kicked out a lot of senior people, and it was just a mess. It was gross. But when we left and we're on the plane, I'm like, I don't feel like I was at a gathering. Like, I felt disappointed. I felt disappointed for my wife because it was her, first time to India, and she didn't get a, kind of experience I would have hoped. And of course, my kids, to whatever extent, because that was their first gathering, going to a gathering, coming back to India after they had started the meditation. My one daughter had been there at some of the other, gatherings after she started, but still it was a little bit different for them. And it was a disappointment, it was a letdown. And then every gathering since and every heartfulness debacle that they've put out there, all the sittings have been disappointing, not like it used to be. And so it's been 2 years since I had that experience where I felt transmission coming independently from, the source and not from heartfulness and Daji. And I decided to go off and do this other thing, which led to the Gratefullness meditation channel. And this was the first time I felt like, wow, this was like an old gathering. There might have been other ones that I felt something like this. I can't remember because they were better. They're certainly all better. But this one was where I was just gone. All of yesterday, I woke up in good condition. I meditated again last night. And then the Tuesday sitting, I'm not going to publish this video till Wednesday because I'm putting up a Tuesday sitting, and the Tuesday sitting is phenomenal. And so everything's next level. So it's taken 2 years for this thing to become where the gatherings are, at least in terms of this gathering. And I'm looking forward to the next ones, in April 30th and then July 24th and these things. And it's, this just a better situation. Certainly, it's also things are going on in the world. It's tumultuous and it's, upheavals and things. And it's supposed to get worse with all that. And when that gets worse, the gatherings will get better. When there's chaos like that and people are unsettled, the gatherings get better. I was unsettled going into this thing myself. And so really needing a boost, really needing, I went through a lot of cleaning ahead of the gathering. So, we'll see how the rest of these ones go. But I can say, for this one, definitely feels like, and, I hope I remember it because I don't, there's been so much of a mess after Chargy passed away. I hope this one stands out and I can remember that this happened like I'm saying it did. And so it's, but hopefully they'll continue this way. Each of these gatherings will be, it's just how you feel afterwards. There's been some kind of work that was taking place and there's, you can feel that there's something, even if you don't know exactly what it is, your condition and the way you leave the gathering. And it's just like you've gone into the spirit world and you've come out and you're like transformed in some way. And there's been, big changes to your spiritual condition, and just trips to India were like that too, right? All these things. When Chargy would come to America or trips to India, not just these big gatherings, which is, the only thing that we have now. And so, I felt some transformation. I've had some great moments in the past 2 years as well. And getting the preceptor book, and there's been some advancement with all that. So I think all those things are, it's been getting better, which is, I'm happy to, have that experience. And so I don't think there's much more to say about it other than, I feel great that there's finally, there's some return to the way it was before. There's something could have been lost forever, like the whole, as for now, it still exists. Like I know from my personal experience, the miracle, I don't know what you want to call it. Miracle isn't the right word because it's not material transformation, although that can be part of it. But, the excellence of the Sahaj Marg system still exists. The vibrance, the dynamic nature of the system, it still exists, even with Daji running into the ground and all these people participating in one way or another. Anyways, very happy with it. Like I said, I'll just, I guess I include this voiceover in my all my videos, the video I'm putting up today. And, it's good. It's a positive thing. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely pointing for the Apocalaughs and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful. That's all.